this morning, a historic political comeback. Donald Trump is projected to return to the White House as the 47th president.
Elect Donald Trump endorsing House Speaker Mike Johnson as he prepares to fight to keep his role leading Republicans in Congress.
I think that an endorsement is better than a non-endorsement or an anti-endorsement. Mike Johnson absolutely needed this vow of support from Donald Trump because over the past few weeks, there were a lot of questions, a lot of skepticism, a lot of critics. There was a lot of dissatisfaction, including in Trump world, I'm told.
The moment has arrived. The cameras are rolling, the spotlight is fixed, and history is about to be written. It's Inauguration Day, a representation of democracy, tradition, and national stability. But let's pull back the curtain. Behind the grandeur and precision of this historic day lies utter disarray. The Republican Party, the very group responsible for ensuring a smooth ceremony, seems to be falling apart at the seams. You might be asking yourself, really? An inauguration at risk of collapse? That's unthinkable. And yet, here we are. If the Republican Party doesn't rally itself together soon, Trump's inauguration could face unprecedented challenges. Anything from logistical delays to chaotic disruptions that overshadow the event entirely. But how did things reach this point? After all, inaugurations have happened countless times before. What makes this one feel like it's hanging by a thread? Let's unravel the story. Here's the crux of the issue. The Republican Party today isn't a cohesive unit. It's a fragmented collection of factions with wildly different priorities. First, you have Trump's unwavering loyalists, those who view him not merely as a political figure, but as the embodiment of a movement. Their goal? Keep Trump at the forefront, no matter the cost. Then there are the moderates, those yearning for a return to a more conventional style of conservatism and asking if it's time to ease back from the drama. And finally, you've got the disruptors, the mavericks who thrive on chaos and systemic upheaval, unconcerned with maintaining party unity. Combine these groups under one political tent, and you get the perfect recipe for dysfunction. The proof? They can't even settle on electing a Speaker of the House. What is typically a routine process has turned into a protracted spectacle, with no end in sight. But why is this struggle for the Speaker's role so critical? The answer lies in the cascading effects of their inaction. Without a Speaker, the House of Representatives is practically paralyzed, unable to pass legislation, conduct debates, or even function in its most basic capacity. Imagine a government without its engine. Even more alarming, without a Speaker, the certification of Electoral College results becomes an impossibility. That step is fundamental to finalizing Trump's re-election, and missing it could grind the entire transition of power to a halt. This isn't just a procedural snag, it reveals a deeper identity crisis within the GOP. Is the Republican Party now synonymous with Trumpism? Or is it a bastion of traditional conservatism? Perhaps it is attempting to transform into something else entirely. As they grapple with these existential questions, the clock keeps ticking, and the fallout grows increasingly perilous. To better grasp the stakes, think of government as an intricate machine, with each component relying on the next to function seamlessly. The Speaker of the House serves as the switch that activates the machinery. Without it, the entire system remains dormant. By January 6th, the House is constitutionally required to certify the Electoral College results. This deadline is not a formality. It is the linchpin of confirming the incoming president. If this task isn't completed on time, the consequences could be catastrophic. Legal experts are divided on the ramifications of missing the deadline. Some argue that the results would default into effect, but others caution that it could ignite legal challenges, mass protests, and even a constitutional crisis. This uncertainty would damage America's global image as a model of democracy and governance. Internally, the absence of a speaker means legislative operations come to a standstill, leaving the country's government in a precarious state. All this unfolds while Trump anxiously waits for his moment of triumph. Could all this infighting derail the inauguration? Technically, no. The US Constitution mandates that the president's term commences on January the 20th, regardless of circumstances. However, the chaos leading to that day could transform the inauguration into a disorganized spectacle. The intricate choreography of the event, certifying results, coordinating logistics, and securing public safety, is interconnected. Disruption in even one aspect risks throwing everything into chaos. Some may think, why not proceed with the ceremony regardless? Consider the optics. Trump delivering his oath of office amid widespread protests, unresolved court cases, and a nation divided over the legitimacy of the process. It's far from the ideal image of unity and order America traditionally projects on Inauguration Day. While the country has faced extraordinary challenges in the past, wars, economic recessions, even political scandals, the democratic system has always endured. This time, however, feels distinctly different, as if the very mechanisms safeguarding democracy are under threat. Where does Trump fit into all this?
But here's my take on this. The inauguration is going to happen. They're going to get it together because nobody within the MAGA movement, nobody within the Republican Party wants to cross Donald Trump so much as to bruise his ego as the only president who wasn't able to be inaugurated and celebrated at an inaugural ceremony. That's not, do you think that's going to happen? Do you think Donald Trump is going to allow his weak-minded insecurities be even more bolstered by allowing this to happen? My guess would be no.
Is he just a bystander in the turmoil, or is he its catalyst? The truth lies somewhere in between. Trump has always thrived in the spotlight, and no event places him more prominently there than Inauguration Day. Yet his leadership style, built on loyalty, division, and confrontation, has fractured the Republican Party.
MAGA crisis could mean no Trump inauguration on January 20th. With Mike Johnson's speakership in peril, lawmakers worry the House won't be able to certify Donald Trump's re-election. And it's not going to be because of Democrats. Democrats are still in such disarray that our party isn't ready to be the opposition party yet. You still have your Jared Moskowitz, who can't find a bad thing to say about Matt Gaetz and Elise Stefanik. You got John Fetterman over there racing to the hallway to get to glad hand with Robert Kennedy Jr. You got all kinds of people who are just not ready for the fight yet. However, there's time for Democrats to get it together. There's time for our people to get it together because Republicans are giving the time. Republicans are making all kinds of space because of the chaos that just follows behind them like, who's the character on the Peanuts, the Pigpen character.
While this approach may have strengthened his own position, it's also destabilized the foundation upon which his party stands. Nonetheless, Trump isn't the type to watch passively as disorder overshadows his moment. He'll likely wield his favorite tools, media pressure, behind-the-scenes negotiations, and bold public gestures to rally his fractured party. Even if he manages to smooth things over temporarily, the GOP's underlying cracks aren't going away anytime soon. This brings us to a much larger question. What does this turmoil signal for American democracy as a whole? This situation isn't just about Trump or the Republican Party. It's about the fragility of a system that relies on collaboration and mutual accountability. The peaceful transfer of power, often taken for granted, depends on individuals and institutions doing their jobs responsibly. Today, that responsibility appears frighteningly absent in many quarters. If there's a silver lining to this chaos, it's that moments of crisis often serve as turning points. They compel us to confront uncomfortable truths, reassess priorities, and demand more from those in power. This period reminds us that democracy isn't an inherent right. It's a continuous commitment that requires vigilance and effort. As January 20th approaches, the stakes could not be higher. Will the Republican Party manage to overcome its divisions in time? Or is the United States on the cusp of a political disaster that will redefine its history? Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain. This moment will go down as a defining chapter in the story of American politics. Before you go, thank you for sharing your insights and thoughts in the comments. Do you believe the situation will resolve, or are we heading toward greater chaos? What are your hopes for Trump's second term? If you enjoyed this video and want more in-depth discussions about global politics, China's rise and its influence worldwide, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more updates. We'll see you in the next video.